Hello everyone, my name is David Webb, and today I'm going to be talking about how to stay creative in these crazy times. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified. It's completely free, but you'll stay notified on every new video I release, whether it's related specifically to writing or to creativity in general. For those of you who have been around here for a while, thank you for joining me back here again. I'm super excited to be talking about creativity in general and not just writing, because creativity is something I'm really passionate about. But I promise you're gonna be glad you came today, because I'm gonna be dropping a bunch of tips that if you follow them, you can turn this crazy situation into one of the best times of your life. I believe that this situation can be taken advantage of in ways that you can't even imagine. I believe that you can take advantage of this time and be your most creative. It's all in the name. If you rearrange the letters in the word COVID, you get creative.
That's not true. Well, you have to rearrange them.
You're in this time for a reason, so let's make the most out of it. So let's jump into it. Number 1, recognize the opportunity that you have and then seize it. For those of you who have been creating for any length of time, or for those of you who have even attempted to, you know that being creative is not the easiest thing in the world. With practice, you get better, and depending on how your parents raised you, it could be more natural to you now. But unfortunately, the cruel world system is designed to beat creativity out of you with a stick at a young age. Thankfully, it's never gone. You can always get it back. And right now is the perfect time to get it back. Realize the unique opportunity that you have. For a lot of you, it's literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So many worldly distractions are suddenly eliminated. A lot of your obligations are postponed or canceled. A lot of you are forced to stay inside. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of sucky things about this situation, but if you don't make the most out of it, you're just making it worse on yourself. And given that a lot of you all of a sudden have all this free time on your hands, you gotta realize this is a heck of an opportunity, one that you may never get again. So recognize this incredible opportunity and take advantage of it. Next, get organized. Creatives hate to hear those words, and I understand why. The creative side of your brain naturally rebels against the logical side that says things need to be neater or more organized. However, what the creative part of your brain doesn't realize is that it's going to operate more efficiently and more creatively if it is a little more organized. Furthermore, now is the time when you need organization the most. When you're stuck inside and you can't necessarily tell what time it is unless you're looking at a clock, when you almost forget to eat, when you forget what day it is, this is when you need organization the most. Otherwise, you're gonna be lying on your bed watching TikToks at 4 a.m. This is definitely not personal experience. It's not. What does organization mean for your creativity? It means setting aside specific time slots to be creative. It means scheduling your creativity. I know it sounds counterintuitive. A lot of people firmly believe that you should only be creative when inspiration strikes. For those of you who have watched any of my other videos, you know that this is nonsense. When you simply wait for inspiration to strike, you're training your brain to just put it off until a later time. You're not encouraging your mind to be more creative more often. The simple act of scheduling a time to be creative will instantly, 100% of the time, prepare your mind to be more creative in that time. This is not my opinion. This is not something that I just believe. It's fact. Go look it up or something. I'm sure you have time. Schedule a time to be creative, and then when it comes to be that time, go be creative. Don't let it reach 5 o'clock and realize, you know what, if I sit down, I'm probably not going to be that creative, and then go play Rocket League instead. Also not speaking from personal experience. Don't sit there in front of a blank screen at 5:05 and think, well, it's been 5 minutes, creativity obviously isn't gonna come now, and then abandon ship. Decide proactively that this is when you're gonna be creative, and then when the time comes, sit down and just do it. Don't wait for inspiration to strike. If you're a writer, just free write. Write the first thing that comes to your mind. If you're a designer, just design something basic, something that you can do in your sleep. If you're an artist, just doodle around. When you mimic creativity, in spite of not feeling creative, your brain will make up for it. It will eventually realize it's time to be creative. It will come to your rescue. You just gotta give it time. Next, turn off the news. There are so many benefits to just shutting off the news. If all you're doing every day is just looking at the latest death toll, watching the number of infected rise, what do you think you're doing to your mind? You're training yourself to see the negative. And I'll admit, it's easy to do. It is so easy to see seemingly the most pressing issue in the world right now and become consumed by it. But it's just another way of distracting yourself. Worse, you're distracting yourself with something you have absolutely no control over. You're distracting yourself with something that you can just feel sorry about, that you can be miserable about, that you can sit in your home and wonder when it's going to happen to you. I promise you, you're not going to get anything done. I was just going to leave it at that, but I feel like it's just too important that I cannot stress it enough. I've worked some really sucky jobs before, and I literally mean sucky because they suck the joy out of you, so that when you're done with the shift, you have nothing left. You want to go home and you want to die, or at the very best, crawl into bed and just watch Netflix. These joy-sucking jobs are just like the news. They're so innately negative, you're taking in all this depressing stuff that is really hard for the creativity to come out. Trust me, just go a day without it. You'll be much happier for it and much more creative. Next up is eliminating other distractions. A lot of the stuff out in the world has been eliminated, gone. However, there are still distractions waiting for you at home, maybe even more so. There's Netflix, video games, food, and if you're not careful, you'll just sink into one of these ruts where you watch Netflix for 6 hours straight. Again, I promise this is not personal experience. It's so easy to do, and therefore so incredibly important that you block it out. How do you block it out? Well, if a certain distraction is on your computer, then download some software like Cold Turkey, link in the description, that blocks out certain websites or certain applications for a certain period of time, literally making it impossible for you to even access these things until your time is up. I use this all the time, and it works so well. They have a micromanager application now that does kind of the opposite. It only allows certain applications until your time is up. You want to be creative? If you're a writer, put Microsoft Word into that application and say that you cannot access any other programs except Word for 2 hours. If you're really desperate, block Netflix in your router settings or something. If you're turning to food too often, don't. Do whatever it takes to eliminate these other distractions that are keeping you from being creative. Next thing you can do is take frequent breaks. I personally am terrible about this. I'll sit down behind a computer for 4 hours on end, editing a video, writing a book, doing something, and I'll forget to take breaks. However, it's much better for your mental health and much better for your body if you take breaks. Go 15 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. It's called a Pomodoro. Have these regularly scheduled breaks where you can get up, stretch your legs, do something else for a very short period of time, and then get back to work. I have found that when I do employ this technique, it just goes better for me. I'm more creative. I write more words. I write better words. Trust me, just try it out, see what you think. Look for Pomodoro in the App Store, download it, check it out, see if you like it. These next few tips are going to be some of the most important ones. If you live with other people, negotiate alone time. Creativity, by nature, is somewhat of an isolated activity. For most of the creative process, you need to be alone. Therefore, if your kids are all taking Zoom classes, if your husband is working from home, sit down with them, talk to them, help them understand why alone time is so important to you, and then enforce it. It's good for your mental health anyway, but for creativity especially, you need it. If you live alone, however, reach out to other people. People were not made to live in isolation. Now is some of the most important times for you to reach out to your friends, reach out to family. They're going to offer you a specific level of emotional support that you can't really get anywhere else. If you're extroverted, this time could be really unnatural for you. However, as weird as it feels, just like introverts need to reach out to other people and engage in social interaction, extroverts also need to take some time to themselves, more so than they're willing to admit. Extroverts need to know how to be alone. So just keep that in mind. Don't focus on the fact that you're alone. Focus on what you could be doing now that you are alone. Next up, if you're just starting to be creative, or if you're starting to be creative in a new way, start small. If you've always wanted to write a book and you think that now is the perfect time to finally do that, stop right there. Put a pin in that. It's really easy to just let the enthusiasm and the excitement power you through the first third of your book. But if you've never done it before, it's really easy to get overwhelmed. Start with something small, write a short story. It's really important that you build upon little victories to take you farther, rather than just relying on the excitement to last as long as possible. If you're an established creative or you're continuing to develop a skill that you already have, figure out what your next big step is, and then take small actions to work toward that next big step. These small steps will break up that bigger step into more digestible chunks that you can handle each and every day. If I wake up on any given day and decide that today is the day that I'm going to edit this third book of this 9-book series so I can keep going, I'm going to get burnt out. But if I wake up and I decide, hey, you know what? I need to edit 5 chapters of my third book today. That's a much more digestible goal. That's something small and actionable that I can actually do, and I can use the momentum of that success to carry me on to future successes. I got to take it step by step in order to get there without burning out. This is more important now than ever, now that we have all this time to ourselves. It's just really easy to sit down and power through 6 hours of work with no end in sight, and then come back the next day and just be drained. Finally, take advantage of free resources. If you want to be more efficient and more productive with your creativity, there's certain software that lets you do things for free. For instance, Scrivener, my favorite writing platform, has a 30-day free trial. And that's not 30 days from the day that you download it, it's on any given day. If you use the product, that counts as a day. If you use it on Sunday and then don't use it again until Thursday, you've only used it for 2 days, and it's only going to count you for those 2 days. It's incredibly useful. It's one of my favorite softwares of all time. Take advantage of things like this. Adobe has some amazing software, some professional level software that makes working on your art so much more efficient. There's a learning curve to all of their software, but once you get past it, it just makes the process go by so much smoother. Also, Amazon is offering, I think, 2 months free of Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited being a subscription where you have access to millions of different titles across the Kindle library that you can read for free every month. If you need a place to start, my books are in Kindle Unlimited, so you can check them out for free. That's about it, guys. I am really passionate about creativity because I truly believe that every human being in some area of their lives is called to be a creative. Not everyone's meant to write a book. Not everyone can draw. But I'm willing to bet, if you really think about it, there's some area in your life where you've always wanted to create something. Now is the perfect time to do it. It's crazy times like these that remind me of one of my favorite lines in all of book and cinematic history.
I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
So what are you going to do with the time that's been given to you? Let me know in the comments down below. I understand if it's personal. A lot of creative stuff is incredibly personal, but drop a note in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. What do you plan to get done during this time? Let's make some coronavirus resolutions. Guys, if you watched this far, that means one of 3 things. You either enjoyed the content, you got something out of it, or you just wanted to see how much you can make fun of me for. Either way, you're still here after all this time, so it's just worth your time to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified. It's completely free, and you'll be notified of any future videos that I release. I am so looking forward to seeing you all again, but for now, let's go make something.